Welcome to my site. Today I was going to talk about the cipher Rahu Ketu, the legend and significance in Vedic astrology. This, I thought it might be associated to an earlier video I just did about the moon and planets and the way solar eclipses occur. And blow me down, it's all connected, it's all related. So to understand all the ancient myths and legends, you have to understand the flat earth model that they all knew of and believed in. And this is it here. It's looking down on the earth. There's a southern rotation and a northern rotation that all meet at the tropics. The magnetic fields that come out from the centre, come out from the south and go past down the side to the tropics, 30 degrees, down through the earth and come out back up to the centre, which is a choke point, just like in a ring magnet. But man today does not understand this because they don't understand the ancient way of thinking. We've all been educated now, so we all think we know them because we've been educated. But we don't understand the divine numbers, sacred geometry, the divine numbers of 3, 6 and 9, the non-physical numbers. If you understand the non-physical numbers, you understand the whole realm of the flat earth model. But until you do, you think you live on a spinning ball. Things have to fold back around to add up in our brains today. But once you understand the sacred numbers, you realise they don't have to. It can be flat. You just have to understand how it works. But anyway, so I have to just quickly explain how the myths will relate to the flat earth model. So down there, this is a magnetic field that flows up. It's just like a vortex water. Vortex and water spin up and it'll be sucked back down to the centre before it winds back up. The suction is always moving. The action around here is moving a lot quicker than what this is flowing up. And in the centre here, right in the centre north, is the cosmic egg. It looks a bit like this. It looks like an egg because it's got the sun at this end. So basically you could draw it like that, like a human, like a fetus of a baby. Because it's all connected to nature. It's all related. So there's the head, the sun. Numbers, we do not see them. We only see the physical, which is all blown out into our realm, which is a mirrored image. So we'll see it out in our sky if it's curved like that. We'll see it out in our sky like that. So anyway, back at the source, right back in here, we have the moon and the planets. But the sun is on the inside edge of the black hole vacuum, this big suction down here, the counter force. The sun sits on the inside face, but I've drawn it like this to make it look like a fetus. And this is always moving quicker than everything else because everything's basically slightly out further, right? It all sits in an area like this. Planets, the moon wanders down to full moon and wanders back up to the sun. The sun's sitting in here. And coming down here is the sun, sucked back down there, created. This is all electrical. So if you picture that, the sun tucked in there like that. But what science doesn't realise is when they say full moon is opposite to the sun is right there, because the sun actually sends its light through the black hole. They must know that because they think the sun comes all the way from outer space to hit Earth. This is how it works. This when the moon comes around here, that's new moon. That's why we don't see it. the sun dissolves it. These are the phasings. It fades away. Like you get full moon here, we see it in our realm, 3/4, half, crescent, because it's approaching the light of the sun. Same here. It's dim crescent here, half here, 3/4 there. This is how it works. So we'll rub those out again. So I'll get on to the story now. So Rahu and Ketu, the legend and significance in Vedic astrology. Rahu and Ketu are shadow planets. According to Vedic astrology, they have no independent identity. They do not rule any zodiac sign. No sign in particular at that point in time during the solar eclipse. Also, they can be characterized as male and female. This is the duality in the whole system of creation. And so you could say Venus is male and Venus is female, Mercury is male, but there's no real distinction there. But this is all in regards to man's awakening. It's the spiritual story all religions are talking about, that the common man today knows nothing about. It's been flushed out of a system, educated out. But this is all relevant today because it can happen to anybody. It goes into this soon. So, also they cannot be characterized as male and female, because when the divine event happens, the male and female come together in your system in the awakening. They denote 2 points of intersection in the orbit of the sun. They are one of the most important aspects of Vedic astrology. Solar eclipses prior to the full moon. This all boils down to a particular time at the spring equinox, first full moon in the first week of spring after a full solar eclipse. This is the divine period of all religions speak about. This is why it was revered in the Vedic, the Indians. Rahu and Ketu's story dates back to the Samudra Manthan. According to the legend of Samudra Manthan, the Devas and Asuras churned the oceans to obtain the Amrit. Now you've got to imagine the Devas and Asuras. Devas and the Asuras. That's the two forces working in nature. You can name heaps of dualities in nature. There's the two forces, okay? Until the pineal gland is awoken, we are down here in hell. Satan rules over us until the awakening, when you're born again, understand the real world, into the spirit world. And when they say churn, Devas and Asuras churned the oceans to obtain the Amrit. Now the Amrit is, these are all the same. You've got the Ankh symbol, you've got the Amrit, nectar of immortality. It's the Christ, the Latin word for Christos, meaning anointed one, the Messiah. You become a king once it's happened, in the eyes of all the myths. Egyptians talk about, but that's what a king is once you've been enlightened. What comes from anointed ointment, a smooth oily substance, the anointing oil, you heard about that, the Christos. You've watched Sandoz Banasi's videos, you understand that flows down the system, must come back up. That's everybody waiting for the return of Christ, returning back up, the Christ, the Christos. Another trinity, and there's heaps of trinities. It's the oil mixing with the water, mixing with the blood. It's the water being released from around the pineal gland, mixed with the pituitary oil, mixing with the blood. And the blood is represented in the two sky rotations. The southern sky rotation and the northern sky rotation. You haven't noticed? That's the reality of things. And we have a gap. This is it the ant? That's the Egyptian one. What's the Sumerian one? The Sumerian one looks like this. It has the circle attached to the bar, like that. And Ishtar's holding it in her hand. Her hand's around here. This is when they talk about the waters, the seas, tuning up the seas, because these two, northern and southern rotation, night sky rotation in spring, September mainly, slightly separate, and in those 2.5 to 3 days, the tides move at their maximum, right out and come right up. It's that the same divine period. Down here is associated with up there. The skies separate a little bit. It's over the seas in the southern ocean in the springtime. This, I understand it as being the southern. I'm basically describing the southern field. Not too sure about what's happening up north. What have we got here? Rahu and Ketu are shadow planets that form the point of intersection in the Sun and Moon orbit. They are one of the most important aspects of Vedic astrology. Rahu and Ketu stories date back to Samudra Manthan. According to the legend of Samudra Manthan, the Devas and Asuras churn the ocean to obtain the Amrit. So Amrit being the divine awakening, receiving the anointing oil, etc. Having the water released from around the pineal gland, which is the flood. The Red Sea is the blood, the parting of the sea. It's all associated, it's all Christianity as well. The nectar of immortality, Amrit, the nectar of immortality. You become immortal when this happens, spiritually. You don't reincarnate like the common person does. Through their ignorance, they will always reincarnate until they start waking up, realising the world for what it is, not what education has taught them. They'll never get it from school. That's to shut you down, stop you from finding the real world you live in and the meaning to life. Because basically it's all run by like a Freemason society. They want to rule the world. Look at Hermaphrodites was considered to have complete dominion over earth. This is the divine awakening. He becomes a king, and he is open to the universe. His brain, he is connected. He understands more. He's wise. These are the ancient kings that go way back. They know. They were the ones that ruled. They must have been slaughtered off because they don't rule now. They're lying, cheating, genocidal freaks who think you're nothing. Well, they're basically Freemasons, and the Freemasons know all about Egyptian mythology. And all you see their symbols and their architecture and all that. Well, here we have complete dominion over the earth. Well, look at the voting system they have in America. What do they call it? Dominion. Because they can rule the world with that system. Because it's rigged. Yeah, let me go on. Turned up the oceans and gained the Amrit. And once again, like I say, it's all associated with these here. The right hand. In the right hand, the man who receives it, the raising in the right hand, in the palm of his hand, you see the thing, the curve around the thumb, and then you have this other line, and then you have this line in here where the fingers are. Well, what's right here? It represents the same spot, the bridging. And what does this represent? Pisces. That's the Jesus story. Well, a man will raised up, right hand raised up, a lump will appear here. In Vedic mythology, the Indians put the mark on this side, but it's a lump right in that spot. You know they're the ones. Right, the Asuras. Now the Asuras sounds like Uraeus, doesn't it? Well, it all represents the magnetic field. The serpent represents the magnetic field. Magnetism. Magnetic forces from the moon and the magnetism from the earth. But there's a positive and a negative, but they can come together. They come together. So you get the lightning. They come together and awaken the man, the pineal gland. This is this flowing through the system and the power of the moon coming down. Bite thy heel, wound thy head. Bang. Wake up. Moves the water. So the Asuras stole the Amrit from the devil, because we are devils which has you bound. At birth, your physical birth, you're bound. We are bound down here. We're the red chakras at the bottom of the system. We have to raise our chakras and come, be elevated and wake up. We're not doing that. The pineal gland's closed in water. You're bound to earth. You basically dumb down till you wake up. You turn on a TV box and believe everything that's on there. Whatever they tell you, you'll believe it. That's when you're dumb. That's when you're down here, third chakras. You don't wake up. Not until you turn the TV off and start waking up and listening to the real news, not mainstream media. So as a result, Lord Vishnu took form of Mohini. I'm saying as the moon, Mohini, a beautiful woman, and distracted the Asuras, affected the magnetic field. The moon affected the magnetic field down here, because the moon has the magnetic force to the full moon. It's the ultimate. The full moon at between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. So the beautiful and woman, the moon is the female. She's the beautiful woman, full moon, and distracted the magnetic field, the Asuras. On obtaining the Amrit, Mohini distributed it amongst the Devas. All those are bound up. You're receiving this awakening. And it's all to do with a time and a half, a special time. Whenever all the stars align and you're in the right frame of mind, it will happen. And Mohini, a beautiful woman, and distracted the Asuras. Distracted as in attracted the magnetic field to earth. May have lost some people already, I think. It's a bit complicated and deep. Right. Lord Vishnu severs the head of demon Rahu Ketu. Here's a pretty picture. But like the Christian story, is it Judas sitting amongst them? Bad dude. Well, an Ashura by name Rahu Ketu disguised himself as a diva and sat among them. Right, the sun and moon god noticed this and decided to warn Mohini. But Rahu Ketu already consumed the Amrit. So you can't, when you're reading it, you can't follow on and think it's all the same thing. It's telling you, it's not literal. You've got to think. It's pretty hard. You've got to have a bit of spiritual, what do you call it? Spiritual thought anyway. The sun and moon God noticed this and decided to warn Mohini. But Rahu Ketu already consumed the Amrit. So he's it's started to work on them already, right? And what they're saying is sit amongst them. That is when the planets moved in here. It separated them, moved amongst